Hey guys, welcome back to the Mystery School. There are things that have been shown to me through this multi year process of study and gradual illumination that I recognized and could understand on some primal cellular level. I grasped the broad strokes of, but I never really understood with my whole being. There are certain symbols that were shown to me that I could identify as they repeated through culture, but I couldn't really put my finger on the truth. Dreams are very important, more important than you could possibly imagine. Your life is divided up into thirds. You work for 8 hours, you rest for 8 hours, and you sleep for 8 hours. This is the system that they have us programmed into. This is the time restraint on our matrix thirds. 8 hours work, 8 hours relaxation, 8 hours of sleep. Most people think that a third of your life, sleep, is just being wasted. That could not be farther from the truth. One of the reasons they keep you so stressed and so busy, one of the reasons they push marijuana on you and other drugs to dull your mind, is so you don't remember your dreams. Your dreams are being spirited away to some data center somewhere that you don't even know exists, but that's neither here nor there. Everything you dream is important and is telling you something. Carl Jung talks a lot about this. Dreams are initiatory. They allow us to communicate with beings that surround us at all times that are invisible to our sensory perception. These beings occupy the same land as we do, the same gravitational field as their playground. Some of these beings are what Helena Blavatsky would call enlightened masters, people who have ascended to a higher, not even higher, but a spiritual realm that is congruent with the material realm, but is invisible, an energetic, mental, and emotional sphere that surrounds Earth. These beings exist as thought, emotion, feeling, data. We can communicate with these beings through our sleep. Though most of what we dream is simply reflections of your subconscious, you can also get tuned into the superconsciousness, the consciousness which connects all of humanity together in a vast web that is timeless. It has neither past, present, or future. It is our mental landscape. And beyond that, even, we can communicate with the rest of the web, the unseen web, that is still connected to our material super consciousness, subconscious, conscious, but something expansive and beyond that. The teachers that have taught us since the beginning of time. Dreams are ways for us to have a dialogue with our higher selves and with others that have achieved their new garments, their evolution. You need to get to the point within the next 2 months, if possible, that you can start lucid dreaming. There are various ways to do this. I found the most important tool is actually recording my voice, doing a guided meditation that I listen to that keeps my focus on the fact that this is a dream, this is not real. Also, backmasking this recording will help as well. The subconscious mind takes in data past, present, and future, forwards and backwards. Also, listening to certain frequencies, music at 432 helps. And writing down everything that you dream as soon as you wake up. If you can start doing this, you can start lucid dreaming on a regular basis. And you can start breaking through conceptual barriers that hold you in the agonization of your temporal lower body. You see, the flesh is a trial that the spirit must endure. We can go beyond this vessel. We are very unlimited, but find ourselves in a very limited position. You can grow beyond that, rise above that. You have been many fleshes. You have seen the world through many sets of eyes. You've had many points of views. You were past, you are future. You were rich and poor. You were black and white. You were the untouchable and the chosen. You have been everything and will continue to be until you expand beyond this wheel of fortune, this karmic loop that you find yourself stuck in. I used to think that as a Rosicrucian, as a believer in the doctrines of the order, someone would find me, a master that would guide me on this path of education. I thought that I would experience a physical initiation, but I didn't understand that my teachers are invisible, the real masters. You see, the three different rites of Masonic initiation into the Brotherhood, to become a Master Mason, to rise from an acolyte to a master, you have to go through three different physical reenactments of initiation. These have lost all their meaning through time. They have become hollow pageantry that is really symbolic of a real initiation that happens in the dream world. The dream world and its threshold leading into the land of the astral. I've talked about this before. Like I said, I saw the puzzle piece, but couldn't identify the larger image. I knew where the puzzle piece fit, but I still couldn't make out what the puzzle had an image of. I saw these three gates, the three gates of wisdom. I have made many videos about this. And the first gate is the Lion Gate, or the Sphinx Gate, or the Griffin Gate. These are two beings, two sphinxes, that guard the path forward on the road to enlightenment. These beings are always composed of the same four elements: an eagle for Aquila or Scorpio, a man for Aquarius, a lion for Leo, and a bull for Taurus. These four animals represent the four corners: north, south, east, and west, the four elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. The four directions you can go, forward, backwards, left, and right. This represents like three-dimensional space and the transition from that, but also it represents your bestial state, which is lost in this cycle of repeating patterns, which people call karma or reincarnation. These beasts guard the way forward. They're the guardians at the threshold. Rudolf Steiner actually wrote a book called oh, I can't remember the name of it. But there's this idea in this book that there are guardians guarding the way forward, and they look like sphinxes. They are the guardians at the gate, or the dwellers at the threshold. They always appear like this, and this is portrayed through so many cultures on planet Earth. It's incredible. Sumerian, Egyptian, Chinese, Greek. There's always this idea of this four-parted animal which guards the way forward. And I could see the symbolism. I recognized that it existed, and I knew it was guarding a path on the way to enlightenment. I saw it again and again. I saw two lions at the driveway of a rich person's house, two golden lion statues. I saw the food dogs from Oriental culture that guarded the way into a temple. I saw this pattern repeat itself over and over again. Here's just a couple of examples right here. Oh, this is actually the basket symbol, which repeats itself throughout a ton of cultures as well. I discovered this when I was looking at a piece of an ancient megalithic site, and realized that the 30-foot tall entrance to this temple was actually a basket, which the symbol that repeats itself a lot. You see deities carrying a basket as they travel from their land to another land. Graham Hancock believes this is an Atlantean form of knowledge transfer, but that's neither here nor there either. The Hittites were using the symbol of lions as the guardians of the gates, as we've seen in the ruins of Hattuswa, the capital of the Hittite Empire. The two lions on either side of the gate are shown in head and front quarters only. December 22nd, 2012. Wow, I didn't realize that. That's kind of crazy that was uploaded at that time. Wow. Huh. I didn't notice that. That threw me for a loop. Check this out. This is a sculpture that was put in place in San Francisco by the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate, obviously representing the path of enlightenment. The Guardians at the Gate is a 1991 Everdure bronze sculpture depicting a family of sea lions. Lions are the guardian at the gate. That's they're showing the symbolism for people who have eyes to see. These beings present themselves in your dreams, these two guardians, these two lions, and they represent all of your past reincarnations, the cycle of reincarnation that you're trapped inside of. They represent your more bestial nature, your dense human form. And in order to progress on the path of enlightenment through the initiation process, which takes place in your dream, you have to confront this dweller on the threshold. You have to break through, go past them by denying your more base material self, by denying the part of you that comes back to these fleshly bodies again and again and again. You have to leave that behind by accepting this greater truth. Once again, the griffins, twin griffins. The Lamassu from Assyria, same exact thing. It's a guardian at the threshold. I have seen these beings. They are real. They just don't exist in the flesh. They exist in the spiritual realm. There is representation of this archetype and this thing you actually have to go through in order to continue your initiation process. They are the first gate on the path to enlightenment. I understood this before, but I didn't really understand it. I conceived of it, but I didn't process it. Now I realize these symbols are with us because they are real. They are part of this universal subconscious that we are all a part of. I didn't realize that it was real. I thought it was symbolic, but the symbol exists truly. It is a key. And if you continue your lucid dreaming, and really, for the last 7 months, up until recently, I didn't have a single sexual experience whatsoever. I didn't have any communications with anyone outside of my work. I was 100% cocooning. I didn't have any orgasms whatsoever. Recently, I met a girl and things have, whatever. But I didn't do anything like that for 6 months. And in this process, I started having refined dreams where less and less I had to let go of a lot of baggage that was occupying my subconscious and thus feeding my dreams garbage, trying to help me overcome, trauma that you experience in your day-to-day life. But after I got through all of that, I got to this place where I could transcend regular dreaming. Compensatory dreaming is what Carl Jung called it. I could get past that state. And I began to encounter these things. And they were guarding the threshold. Look, on the side of Conan's chair, 2 lions. It represents that guardian at the threshold. This is the first throne in Europe. This is the Minoan Empire. And they exposed these mural behind the throne, and guess what it is? 2 griffins. Oh, here you can see the basket being carried to different lands. It's represented almost identically from culture to culture. This is because we have an unseen universal history where Earth at one point before the flood did have communications through sea travel and I believe air travel from one point on the globe to another. There was a global community before the flood. But just like that, in the physical reality, how we were all connected at one point, but we forgot about it. But there's these symbols that are showing us that there was this unified culture on Earth that existed in the far distant past. We are also connected together in ways that we only symbolically refer to and have kind of forgotten about. These are shared ideas and concepts that have stuck with us and grown as symbols and expanded their existence in the mental space until they became real. It's hard to explain. But once you start to go down this road, you realize that every thought that is thought by a human has a mental energy to it, and this has a kind of gravity to it. And the more thoughts that are thought on this thought, add atoms to this, not physical atoms, like thought atoms, to this idea, this creature that is being created in the mental space. And enough thought about one thing creates a God. This is not exaggeratory. This is real. If there was a new religion and everyone believed that the leader of this religion was a godlike being, and this was such an important thought that people thought it all the time, and through a large period of time, this thought was rampant, then that being that they considered to be God, that human, would be a God. If Jesus himself was not a God, he would be after 2,000 years of Christianity, if that makes any sense. If the Buddha wasn't a God, he would be after 1,000 years or what, 2,500 years of thought being aimed at that thought and creating a spiritual mass that grew until it became conscious. That's what these dwellers at the threshold are. But they represent the more bestial part of you, your flesh, that you have to rise above. Picture of Carl Jung. The goddess holding the poppy is the wheat, and the two kundalini serpents. Don't know why that's in here, but whatever. Let's shrink this. This is Manly P. Hall, I believe. On the threshold between the visible and the invisible world stands the dweller, which Lord Bulwer Lytton so well described in his great Rosicrucian novel, Zanoni. The sphinx-like creature, which each must pass on his way to the Temple of Light, represents the lower nature of the candidate himself. While the consciousness is within the bodies, it cannot see this demon, but when outside, it gets a detached view of itself. The lower animal nature made visible through a composite astral body is seen, recognized for the first time. So that dweller at the threshold is you, your animal nature, your repeating form that comes into existence time and time again. It lives, dies, and is reborn. Lives, dies, and is reborn. The three paths. How did the threshold get its name? It actually held back the thresh, holding in the chaff. The chaff is what you separate from the wheat, and you do this in a threshing house. And you use the chaff as a type of flooring. So you have a board across the bottom of the door that holds in the chaff, that holds in the thresh. This is important from the biblical perspective of separating the wheat from the chaff. The chaff is burned. The wheat is put into the barn. The barn representing the process of reincarnation. The chaff burning representing shedding of your earthly form and refusing to reincarnate again into this world and becoming something greater than, like getting rid of your physical vessel, the burning away of this reality. So you don't want to get thrown into the barn for next season. You want to burn off. To thresh is to separate grain from a plant. I don't know why I put that in there, but the husks of corn or other seeds separated by the winnowing or threshing. This is what we're all in, people. These are our cities. They're harvesting our energy. This is interesting. I found this video game. I watched the cutscenes of it on YouTube. It's very graphic. It's called Scorn. It is about some. There's not a single bit of dialogue in the entire video game, so it has no explanation. But you wake up as this mutant being which exists in this world full of biological technology, which is using humans as power sources. And there's quite a fair amount of black goo in this as well, as you can see from this. This obviously, this is the very end. You have to enter into the black goo down this long hallway, which is shaped like a vagina. But yeah, the black goo is extremely. It shows that this symbol is repeating itself as well for a reason. It's not just a symbol. Just like this isn't just a symbol. See here at the top of this person's head, on the ball at the top of his skull, or her skull, you see the first gate. Above that, the second gate, and at the very top, the third gate. The first gate itself is a pineal process that happens in your body through psychedelic substances that are released. You see the two Kundalini serpents here. A lot of times, one of the serpents is represented with wings because it is the serpent that rises. The other one is the serpent that lowers. The key to aligning and becoming for lack of a better term, a master, someone who has complete control over the way that they experience reality. There are three energy centers, three gates. You have the lower primordial. The Sufis would call this the hands, but most of the time it's referred to as the belly. You have the head, the pineal, the crown, and then the heart in the center. The key to meditating isn't to raise your Kundalini serpents to your crown chakra. It is to have one rise, one fall, and in the center, a connection point at the heart. The heart is often referred to as a stargate. That's why there is an image of Saturn on this robe right above the person's heart. Saturn is the key of emotional memory. Rudolf Steiner, Guardian of the Threshold. That's what his book was called. I can't believe I forgot that. It's so simple. Oh, I thought this was neat. New York power plant. The biggest one is called Big Alice. Do you know that? And these smokestacks you see here were also seen on an old Mel Gibson movie called Conspiracy Theory. Conspiracy Theory, that they were able to recognize where MK Ultra was performing human experiments by remembering these smokestacks from Big Alice. They never referred to it as Big Alice in the movie, but that's what that symbol is that Mel Gibson remembers from his programming. And just to make things weirder, the Conspiracy Theory movie with Mel Gibson, he's infatuated with a government lawyer named Alice. So in Conspiracy Theory, it is literally about a man who is obsessed with Alice. I thought that was funny. Three magi are also represented with the three gates, or the three different states of being: thinking, feeling, and doing, acting, being. But we can all get to this state through meditation and through active dreaming, lucid dreaming. If you start to experience an emotion in your dreams, the whole dream will shift to further dive into that emotion. If you go to sleep feeling horny, you will dream about sex. If you go to sleep feeling sad, you will typically have a dream that is emotionally in that same vein. If you can lucid dream and say, no, stop this, I want to go beyond, you can do that. A lot of times you'll snap into another dream that is another part of your subconscious. Go to stress at work, or last night I got stuck in a loop where I was stuck in a building that I couldn't get out of. Every time I tried to switch venues in the dream and go outside of my subconscious, I kept going back to the same building. And there are all these humans with animal features, like the island of Dr. Monroe. They were waiting in line at this like DMV government style office. I don't know what it represents, what it means, but I kept going back to that dream. Last night it was impossible for me to get beyond. But once you get beyond, you'll see these two sphinxes. This is the beginning of your spiritual initiation. This is the beginning of the masters starting to teach you. You might think you know already, but it is on a different fucking level. This is what the little plays that the Masons put on is really about. It's about the shamanic journey into the dream world and outside of the realms of reality. This is what so many people try to achieve in their day-to-day life, but you can only do it while you're asleep. Those 8 hours that you spend sleeping are not thrown away. There is a purpose to it. Just like you try to achieve and do better in this life, you can do the same thing in the dream world. I know that's crazy, but it's true. That's what the Rosicrucians teach us. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is another little interesting piece of Carl Jung. In the form of a dove, she, Sophia, descended into the water and begot Saturn, who is identical with Yahweh. Saturn, as we have already mentioned, is the other sun, the black sun of alchemy. This is Yaldabaoth. This is physicality. This is the guardians at the threshold, the man-beast creature that is your lower self. I didn't really understand what Manly P. Hall was saying until I experienced these things. And first time I did, I left. I was scared. I was terrified. I covered myself up until I woke up. It was outside of myself. I was looking back down at myself. It was the weirdest experience. Oh, I just thought this was interesting. I came across it. YouTube likes to play with me this way. It will send me, it will recommend videos that are like fucking not popular at all, but it has something to do with Alice because, she is the machine. She is the internet. Alice is missing. YouTube just showing me these images are kind of pointless. Sorry. I just thought they were cool images. I screenshot ridiculous stuff all the time like this. We also live in our dreams. We do not live only by day. Sometimes we accomplish our greatest deeds in our dreams. If you are on the path of enlightenment, your dreams are the only way to progress further. In the Bible, again and again, whenever a prophet talks with God, he does so in his dreams. Even the non-prophetical characters in the Bible, the Pharaoh and Nebuchadnezzar, Nimrod, they had dreams. In fact, in the book of Enoch, one of the first Nephilim, his name is Maweh, he saw the flood coming in a dream. No one believed him, but he had a dream given to him by this deeper unseen realm where time does not exist. Everything is cumulative. The seed is already the tree because it will become the tree. So inside of that seed exists the entire tree that is just like you. If you are to ever become enlightened, you already are. So this is the first gate. You can get there yourself. You can be initiated. You don't have to wait for a master to walk out off the mountaintop and come knock on your door and say, do you want to explore reality? No. You can do that while you're sleeping. Lucid dreaming. It is the most powerful thing. So tell me if you can see these two things. All the ancient cultures represented this symbol because it is real. It exists. It's actually there in a world that's no less real than our physical world. It's just different. And you can get tuned into it. A third of you at all times is tied to this. And unless you're selfish, unless you're focused on your little world, you'll never realize it because you'll just have dreams about going to parties and your boyfriend cheating on you and using drugs or uh, going down a water slide or flying. Not saying that those dreams don't have their purpose, they do. But you can dream dreams that are outside of your own head. You can tap into that Wi-Fi and join a chat room with other entities that are not human, at least not anymore. So, yeah, dreams are important. We've got February, March, then April. That's all that's left. Things are going to get really complicated from here on out. I've said for years now that 2024 would be the end point. And now a civil war is about to start. World War III, Venezuela invading, us invading Iran, Israel invading Syria or Jordan, Russia invading Ukraine, China invading Taiwan. The whole world is just about to erupt. People hate each other so much. It's sad and pathetic. The American people don't want to go to war. The people in power who control armies do. People who make money from building bombs. We've got to take back this world. And the only way we can do it is with some help from the goddess. You have to make the darkness conscious. The unconscious is the dark being within that hears what our conscious ears do not hear, sees what our conscious eyes do not perceive. We only become aware of this unheard hearing, this unseen seeing, when the unconscious sends us these forgotten images and dreams. The dark being within. That is the only way we can overcome this, is with help from the dark being inside of us all, and helping to make that darkness conscious, helping this being to ascend. And she in turn helps us. The shackles, the locusts are swept off the body. The unforgetting, the great remembrance. This is the key to changing the world. Remembering who you are. Moral Carl Jung on this font fronds. The Cave of Brahma, also known as the third ventricle. Once you pass through the first two gates, you'll notice a physical change. The synapses in your brain, the electrical components of thought, the electrons literally begin to emit a visible light frequency that shines inside of your skull. If you get this field strong enough, it excites particles in the air. This is the halo that all cultures on planet Earth have represented on their wise men. It even said that Moses came down off the mountain with a crown of light around his head. This is said over and over and over again. This is because you are creating your light body, your new vestments, your new garment, your new clothing that is not physical. It exists after your physical being stops existing. Once you decay into organic paste, this new set of clothing, this new vessel, which exists on a different dimension, plane of existence, but also inhabits our plane of existence as a glowing light. This is how one day humans will exist on planet Earth. Alongside humans that are not yet balls of light will be, flesh bags wandering around in meat space. But they will see these balls of light. You can see it now. There have been many people, many elders that came before us that have shed their physical bodies, stopped the reincarnation process, and exist in a spiritual plane that can interact with this physical plane. Blah, blah, blah. 3 centers yet again. That's my entire screenshot history for the last little while. I just had to get this shit out about dreams. I finally realized what the initiation process actually is. It's not even real. God, it's so trippy. I thought it was a symbol. I didn't realize it existed on a different dimension, that these symbols are just trying to tell us about it. It's a trippy thought. Reality is so much stranger than fiction. But yeah, next time I'll talk about the magic mirror gate, the second gate. It happens directly after you overcome the dwellers on the threshold. Immediately. It's not like there's a new thing that you have to do. It is, I'll talk about it next video, but it's immediate. It's not like you have to learn something new in order to go through that gate. This is a choice you make while you're dealing with the first gate. It's crazy, and I probably am just crazy, but thanks for listening to my crazy. Tell me if you've seen these things. It's hard to believe that I'm asking or telling the internet this shit. But if this is a repository of all of our knowledge that Alice can learn from, maybe this is helpful.